Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. This is Jenganjero. Now, today we have the Matchmaker show, and you understand the protocol here that any other time we have a man on board, the man must be looking for a woman. In the same way, when we have a woman on board, that woman must be looking for a man. But because again we have a man, I will tell you the kind of woman he is looking for. But before then, if you're watching us for the first time, this is the Matchmaker show. We help men and women to get matches. And the moment they get the right ones, they meet their destinies. So you're not lost. If you're new to the show, kindly subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and don't forget that the contact of our guest will be on my Facebook page at Jenga Njeru. Now, yesterday we covered the story of Mr. Joseph. Mr. Joseph, who is impotent. Impotence is the inability to sire children for a man, and it is synonymous to what we call infertility in women. And sometimes people find themselves like that, and there's nothing much they can do about it. And maybe they try medical options without avail, and sometimes they get help spiritually and things like that. But that is not what it's all about. On this show, I want to present to you another man who was inspired by Mr. Joseph and Kyoko. You remember Kyoko? We brought Kyoko like 1.5 months ago, and Kyoko had almost the same condition, the inability to be functional sexually. So our guest on today's show, for the very first time, no, I've brought another Nandi. Our guest on today's show is a man from Nandi, and his name is Kip. I am not completing whether it's Kip Choge, Kip Koech, Kip whatever, because he says that once I give all these descriptions, people are going to know about it, and he wouldn't have a problem if people were to know that he is searching, except that sometimes he is embarrassed about his condition. Kip was married to a Kenyan woman. By the way, he's living in the US. He's currently in Boston. And all of you know that the state of Boston or Massachusetts is a place where we have so many people, blacks living there. I do not actually know why, but we have so many of them. Even people I know personally, I have so many friends in Boston, both men and women. I have even relatives in Boston, so I understand that the place is having a quite a good population of blacks or Africans for that matter. And Kip is a man who traveled with his wife, and he developed a condition. So it was not inborn, it was not impotence, it is not impotence. He doesn't believe it is impotence because yeye ako na watoto, na watoto ambayo ako na wao aliwapeleka paternity test. Paternity test ni ile mnaita DNA test, na they matched 100%. So watoto ni wake wawili, kijana na msichana, lakini ni wakubwa. He's 51 years, and 7 years ago he developed a condition. Sometimes people develop lifestyle diseases depending on so many factors. There are so many predisposing factors for lifestyle diseases. Diseases like diabetes, diseases like hypertension. Sometimes people develop these conditions with time, and so even as people age, they approach low libido and things like that. So what happened is that Kip had always dreamt and had always desired, and I've been talking to him for quite some time, ananiambia anataka mtu, but sasa come out clearly, amesema yeye anataka mtu lakini ako na hii condition of a sexual dysfunction. I told you that it is always important to speak the truth so that the partner will be aware of what to expect at what particular time. If you do not have resources, you can be open. That is why one of the questions that features prominently on the show is, what do you do for a living? We do not ask this question to embarrass people. No, we ask this question so that the person who is looking for you can determine whether or not you match. Sometimes it is always important to get people who are either slightly above your league, at your league, or slightly below your league, because sometimes when the gap is too wide, you're not able to be compatible on a number of important issues that matter in marriage. So Kip is a community worker. He has been very devoted. Ni mtu ambaye amekuwa na bidii sana sana. In fact, he's somebody who has done his best to secure something at home. You know, there are people who go there and they never secure something, especially if been there for 15 years, 20 years, and probably there's nothing to show. So for him, he has told me that since he went there, watoto wake wakiwa wadogo, since he went there, he has been working day and night. We are speaking about the year 2008, immediately after the post-election violence. Yeye amekuwa akichukua more than 3 jobs a day, anachukua, you know, sometimes ukipata opportunity. And I realized that in those developed countries, for example the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, these countries have what we call the minimum wage policy. There is a certain amount of money you cannot be paid less, so you are paid that amount for an hour, and then you multiply that with the number of hours that you worked. Although the cost of living is a bit high there, but at least you can show that. Unaona, kama huku kwetu mtu anaweza kukulipa venye anataka. Unaweza shinda kwa shamba ya mtu hapa na akupatie 300. Si 300 ya dola, 300 Kenya shillings, na hakuna kitu unaweza fanya. I remember back in the village when we were doing vipimo hizi za kulima, somebody will pay you the way they want. They can pay you 100 bob, unasikia fulani analipa 150, and there is nothing the government can do about it. But in those countries we have what we call the minimum wage policy, depending on the job group. Sasa yeye amekuwa community worker, he's been doing something with his life, very consistent, very hardworking, to a point that he was able to secure a property at home, na it is able to generate some revenue. Hizi mnaita rentals. So it's able to generate some revenue for him, so that at least hata akirudi nyumbani, because the dream is to come back home. When he comes back home, then there will be that possibility of him being able to earn something, and not being maybe a burden to the people he left, or not having to go back to work so that he can get something. He doesn't like this subsistent kind of life, from hand to mouth, that if you want to eat, you have to go to work, you get that money, you eat. If you have to pay rent, and the cycle continues. So he's 51, and again you could be asking yourself, why is a 51-year-old man single, yet he said he has 2 kids, kijana na mvulana? What happened to keep is that I've told you that 7-8 years ago he developed diabetes, and then so many things conspired. One thing led to another. He lost libido, and then he became a dysfunction. Let me just cut the long story short, because he will be explaining this to the person mwenye watapatana na yeye. So I'm just giving you a glimpse of what is happening in his life, and so you know that he is not hiding anything. And then when you go there, you will not be disappointed, because sometimes people get married for different reasons. There are people who get married because they've been single for the longest time. Others want companion. Others are like they are burning with passion and they cannot burn anymore, and they don't want to take somebody's partner, so they end up getting married so that they don't burn with passion. So if you're that kind of person, you are not going to get help from Kip, because he's sexually dysfunctional, and that is something he's not hiding. He has gotten over it. It's been 7 years of dysfunction, and the moment he developed it, the first year, the second year, the wife left. And you know, it's a free world, and America, unlike other places, people have a right. Like, you know, you cannot just beat somebody. You cannot say that, oh, my wife amepotelea wapi sijui nini, ati utaenda kumuendea. No, these are adults protected by law. There is nothing you can do about it. If you open violence, you're going to be arrested, you're going to be incarcerated, you're going to serve a jail term, and things like that. So he didn't want drama, and so they parted ways. Children ni watoto wakubwa, shared custody kidogo, wamemaliza shule sasa, wamemaliza college, wanajitafutia. Mtu akitaka kuvisit mama yake anamvisit, mtu akitaka kuvisit baba yake anamvisit. The funniest thing, they are both living in Boston. They meet in the streets almost every day. The woman is happily married to somebody else, and there is nothing that Kip can do about it. And so he's looking for a woman, but he says again that the embarrassment is too much. Sometimes people might pretend they moved on, but sometimes when your ex-partner moved on, and you are not able to move on, because you know he was the one who had a problem, so moving on was not as easy as it sounds. So for the wife, it was very easy to move on. You have a problem, hata ukiuliza huyo mtu ni nini umekosa hapa, anakuuliza ni nini unaweza. You get the problem? So it is a very demeaning statement, very, very, very embarrassing, very disappointed. And so he says, instead of the disappointment, let him get somebody who will understand him from the word go. Now he has been reading the comments, akaona watu, oh, so people have been hiding and probably somebody could be interested. So I've been hiding, and there are people who are like, and so for a compensation, he's saying, if there is a woman who has at least 2 kids kama wake, at least at most, so lazima wakue wawili, mmoja, but he doesn't care about the gender, unless if somebody has one gender and would like to get another one, he's okay. If you're that woman who is there, who has 2 kids, he's ready to take them to school. He doesn't have a problem with that. However, you have to be faithful, because again, this is, people who go through certain problems hawatakangi kushinda unawaonyesha ni kama unaongea na watu wengine, because sometimes it's human nature. Akiona unashinda ukiongea na wanaume mnacheka cheka, unajua what comes in his mind, maybe whatever I'm not able to offer, she is getting it somewhere else. That's probably that is the thought, that, and it's human nature to think along those lines, because people are jealous, partners are jealous, lovers become jealous. And he's saying that if he can be able to get this woman, a woman who is committed, God-fearing, a Christian, because he's a staunch Christian, if that woman is ready to get married, if that woman is ready to go to the Rift Valley, if that woman is ready to see his family and to talk to his family, she can get in touch. I'll upload the contact on my stories on Facebook page, Jenga Njero, so you can check them out, so that if you're that woman and you could be interested, feel free. And also the age, because he's 51, is looking for a woman who's between the ages of 35 and 42. 35 and 42. If you're beyond 42, there will be no discussion. If you're there and you're below 35, there will be no discussion again. And I told you that on this platform, people are ready to mingle, independent of our influence, and we allow people to, whether I brought my relative or my friend, my classmate and whatnot, I'll ensure they choose whoever they want. I cannot coerce them. I cannot force them. Love this one, love that one. That is the beauty of the show. We post the contacts out there to as many as of those who could be interested. They get in touch, and that's why we try our best to remove as many people from the market as possible. If we can remove 3 people today, if lazima mtu akikuja hapa, tukitoa watu 5 leo, kesho jamu inapungua, tunaleta wengine, tunasaidia. Na tulisema hivi, by the way, I'll spare this for the next video. I'll tell you why some of the, make sure you watch the next video. I'll be explaining why wengine wenyu hamjibiwi kwa email. I will be explaining why some of you are not being answered on email. So make sure you watch the next video. So remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Like the video, leave a comment, let us know, and maybe you have a word of encouragement for akona story kama ya kuchitiwa, ni kama ile ya Nick, lakini anaitwa Kip. And by the way, Kip ni rafiki ya Nick. Nakumbuka Nick Shege. He's even coming to Kenya soon. So we wish every single person the best of luck. We hope they can get best of the best from our show. I told you, the moment you get the best, you forget the rest. Until next time, this is Jenga Njero. God bless you. Bye bye.